today, 2.2.1 notes, we're writing equations for the piecewise function. You have to remember to include the domain for each piece, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Okay, so we're going to be using that writing equations notes on here. So we have two pieces, so that means there's going to be two equations. So if we could split it up. So here's our first one, and it's a horizontal line. So if you remember, a horizontal line is just y equals 5. So f of x equals, and then a little bracket. And our first equation is 5. Now your boundary is at -3. Okay? And there's only one boundary, so that means -3, just like your domain that we did last chapter. We did inequalities. So now this next one, so if x is going to be smaller because we're going this direction, x values are smaller. So it's x is less than -3. There's an open circle. So it is just less than. So now this next one, it does cross the y-axis, and it crosses it at a nice point, which is awesome because that is your b. So it's 1, 2, 3. And if I zoom in, I can do my slope, which is rise over run. So that means I go down 2 and over 1. So my slope is -2. So my equation is y equals -2x plus 3. So -2x plus 3 is my second piece. Now I have to put in my domain. So -3 is still my boundary. But now this time we're getting bigger, so x is greater than -3. But there is no open circle there, so it has to be equal to. So this is my final answer. So some of them are going to be easier than others. Here, there is no horizontal line. The horizontal line are easier than the other ones. So there's my boundary. There's still only two pieces. So here, this one has a b, and then my slope is going to be rise over run, so 1 over 1, equals 1. So my equation is y equals x plus 4. This next one, it does not cross the y-axis, so that means that we need to, I don't think you can see that one as much. So we need to find 2 points. You can find your m, rise over run, so that's 1 over 2. And then we have a point. So that means, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So y minus 1 equals 1/2 x minus 4. So then we distribute. And then add 1. So y equals 1/2 x minus 1. So now we have our two pieces. First one is x plus 4. Second one is 1/2 x minus 1. Now we need to find our domains. So your boundary, what I did a highlighter, is at 2. And that's the only boundary. So x and 2, x and 2. So now the first equation over here, all of the x values are getting smaller. The second equation, all the x values are getting bigger. Now, this has the closed circle. This one has the open circle. So your equal sign is at the top, the first equation. So there's my final answer. So I need to make sure I see all of this work. It can be on your graph. It can be on the side. It doesn't matter. I like kind of putting it in the columns because on the graph, so I know which one is which. But it's totally up to you. Okay, so we have one more. See if you can do this one on your own, just like before. I highlighted the boundary. I'm going to do it and see if you can do it and get the right answer. Okay, so here are my two equations. They both cross the y-axis at nice numbers, which is awesome because then you can just keep it in y equals mx plus b. If it's not, then you have to do the other way that we just did the previous example. Now for your domains, the boundary is at 0 on both, okay? So that means the first equation, negative x, all the x values are getting smaller, and it's a closed circle. Where the second equation over here, all the x values are getting bigger, and it's an open circle. So we are done. All right, hopefully once the writing equations, if that's really easy, this one should be easier. The domains also, if you were really good at domains last chapter, it should be pretty easy, but any of those things are not. They're a little tricky. So make sure that you rewatch the video, do your assignment, check your answers in the answer key, and hopefully it will click and go well.